And I know Senator Cornyn's been an advocate on this as well. Senator Cornyn, you're up.
Well, let me start with where Senator Wyden left off, and Senator Warner, the Sensible Classification Act that we passed last year. Part of that required studies and recommendations on the necessity of security clearances. I believe the testimony we've heard was that there are 4 million people with security clearances in America. If 4 million people are supposed to keep the nation's secrets, it seems to me that there's a lot of not secrets being kept. I mean, that things are not secret. So, and we've learned that some of the FTEs require a security clearance without regard to actually the necessity of that person getting a security clearance and the like. So what I wanted to ask is, have the agencies that you oversee begun the studies on the necessity of security clearances, including a description of how the agencies will make sure that the number of security clearances granted will be kept to a minimum? Let me start with you, Dr. Dixon.
I actually don't know the answer to that question. I will go back and find out whether the studies have begun.
That concerns me. You're the Deputy Director of National Intelligence, and you don't have that information?
That particular one, no, sir, I do not.
Any of the rest of you have any knowledge of any studies that have been done or are in the process of being done as required by the statute? Okay, well, that's kind of not a great start. Let me go back on, as I understand it, the Defense and Counterintelligence Security Agency was established in 2018. Of course, the NBIS, the personal vetting system, was supposed to be the end-to-end IT infrastructure to enable the comprehensive personal vetting on a single platform. It was originally supposed to be completed by 2019. That was 5 years ago at a cost of $700 million. But here we are 5 years later, and the program's not operational, and $850 million has been spent. Can any of you tell us when the NBIS will become operational?
So we have delivered some NBIS capability to date. At this time, as part of the 90-day effort, we are rebaselining to make sure we understand exactly.
That means you're starting over?
We're not starting over. As I think you've heard some of the other witnesses talk about, we're looking to make sure that we can use what has been built. We are exploring exactly what needs to happen going forward to ensure we meet the full level of capability that is expected from the system. At this time, we are in the process of refining exactly our understanding of that timeline. I commit to
in other words, you can't tell us at this point.
I cannot tell you at this point. What I can commit to is that we will keep this committee informed as those estimates take shape. Yeah. We are going through the process, as I discussed, to work with the Undersecretary for Acquisition and Sustainment. As part of that, we are rebaselining the program. We will have an independent cost estimate. All of these are things that I commit to keeping the committee informed on as this work takes shape. It couldn't happen in 90 days. This is a month-long effort, but we are fully committed to making sure that you have the full visibility as it comes together.
So you can't tell us when the NBIS will be operational at this point. As I look at the new NBIS program manager and program executive officer has identified, it looks like, 4 main reasons why this program is overdue and over budget. One was the trouble with requirements. The second is too much focus on technical debt. The third is poor contract management. And the fourth is insufficient time and criteria for review. The GAO, the General Accountability Office, has conducted multiple studies and made a variety of recommendations. Are those recommendations being implemented in the current efforts?
Senator, yes, they are. We're taking corrective action on those. That's one commitment that I make to this committee and to my agency.
And is there who is in charge, in the sense that there needs to be somebody held accountable, and as long as everybody's accountable, no one's accountable? Who is in charge of making sure this program is back on track and will be delivered as promised?
So I believe that as the program sponsor, the Undersecretary for Intelligence and Security has responsibility. It's a shared responsibility with the Undersecretary for Acquisition and Sustainment to ensure that this program is sufficiently overseen and that we are doing this soundly and in line with the requirements as they have been
So the
laid out.
Department of Defense is responsible?
The Department of Defense is responsible, and we are fully committed to making sure that this is the path to success for NBIS as we move forward.
Well, it's no surprise to me that a program as complex as this is overdue and over budget when apparently the most basic requirements were never identified initially. Is that correct?
I think the requirements were outlined in Trusted Workforce 2.0. I think what we had was a breakdown in how those requirements were being managed into technical requirements for the development and how we were taking account of the delays in that process. And that is something that we are seeking to remedy immediately with more proactive oversight from the Undersecretary of INS's office in partnership with DCSA as we look to make sure we put this on a sound foundation.
My time is overdue.
And just to make you feel, one, I think you can all get on Dr.